To Dr. Gillian Tully from the Forensic Science Regulator just after 7 o'clock this morning on 5 Live Breakfast. 12 minutes past 6 now. Theresa May is to hold her first meeting with Donald Trump, possibly as soon as next month. Downing Street has been trying to build links with the president-elect, and it's been revealed that two of the Prime Minister's closest senior aides were sent to Washington in December to hold discussions with Mr. Trump's team. Meanwhile, President-elect Trump has voiced fresh scepticism about claims that Russia tried to interfere in the American presidential election just hours before he's due to receive a detailed briefing from intelligence chiefs on the alleged cyber attack. Well, Peter Mathews is a professor of political science at Cypress College in California and author of Dollar Democracy. Morning to you, Peter.
Good morning. How are you doing, Claire?
Very well. Now, listen, let's talk about Theresa May going over as early as next month to visit. He will then be President Trump, won't he, of course? How important is that relationship to him, do you think?
How close is the relationship, did you say?
Yeah, how important is it to him, his relationship with the UK?
It's extremely important. I mean, Britain has always been considered a very special relationship with the United States, starting with way back in our culture and our history, but also World War II. After World War II, in the security alliances, Britain was a leader with the U.S., with NATO, and not to mention the Lend-Lease Act during the war. A lot of things are very special between Britain and the United States. So Mr. Trump would like to keep the special relationship, even though Mrs. May had criticized him early on during the election for wanting to ban Muslims outright from the country and the statements that he made about women. She has come aboard now and said, this man is president now, I want to work with him. And we get along well. She actually flattered him, and she gets along well with him.
Yeah,
so that should be right.
Is he on the front foot rather than her? I mean, you say, that there has been a special relationship, but that's ancient history, isn't it? When you're talking about Donald Trump, he's already criticised NATO. He's criticised a lot of the agencies that the US has been involved in and paid money into over the years to say, well, all bets are off now. This is a whole new era we're moving into. So does he hold the whip hand in this meeting?
He does, actually, and that's a concern because we don't know which way he might go at any given moment. And we're hoping many of his advisors, or some of them, would be stable enough and experienced enough to rein him in and keep him in line in terms of what he needs to do to be a serious world leader, and not to just, make statements like they did about China recently, about meeting with, having taken a phone call from the Taiwanese president, which caused a ruckus. So those kinds of things have to be really looked at carefully. Can he actually be the leader that the United States has been? Or will he just go off and do things that are so unpredictable that we don't know what that'll do for the British-American relationship, or for that matter, the EU relationship with Britain, or the Russian relationship with the United States? It's a lot of things at stake here.
Yeah. Let's also talk about the major issue that's making the headlines, not only in the US, but over here as well. President-elect meeting with intelligence directors later today. Focus of the talks obviously revolving around the subject of alleged Russian hacking of US political groups and intelligence agencies in America saying this happened, and him still raising an eyebrow. And people saying, what is going on? Why is the president-elect siding with Russia over his own agencies? Where do you think this one's going to go?
Well, I think it's going to be up in the air till we find out what's in that report. That's the thing. President Obama has asked for the full report. He already got it today, and it's going to be disclosed. Part of it will be disclosed tomorrow to the public. But there won't be any detailed hard evidence of the hacking. That's the real problem. The intelligence folks are saying, we can't give you hard evidence. If we do, that means that the Russians will know how we got it. And yet they're saying, trust us. And Donald Trump says, well, we trusted you on the evidence when it came to weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And some of you were in power at the same time in the intelligence service back then. And we have to be careful when we accuse a major world power such as Russia of interfering in American elections. We should also look at carefully as to what kind of interference was there. Let's suppose Russia actually did hack those emails and made them public. No country should be doing this, interfering in the elections, the democratic process of another country. And if the United States has done this before through landing Marines, from sending CIA to Iran, for example, but still, that shouldn't be done. And yet, Russia, if it had actually put the information out, gave it to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks denies that they got it from Russia, but had they done that, is the information accurate? The actual emails, they portray accurate information, such as that the DNC was favorable toward Hillary over Bernie Sanders. And those kinds of facts that came out that could have possibly influenced the vote outcome in the end is something that Donald Trump's very sensitive about, because he wants to make sure that people know that he won that election fair and square, and that Russia did not help him. It's a very sensitive issue. I think the way this is going to play out is it depends on what happens. Will they go public with the report or the evidence, the hard evidence, or even part of the hard evidence or not, or just say trust us. And that's going to be, we'll know that in about a couple of weeks, actually, or less than that.
Excellent. Peter, thank you. Peter Mathews, Professor of Political Science at Cypress College in California. 18 minutes past 6.
This is 5 Live Breakfast.
The BBC News now on 5 Live. A report says the quality of forensic